channel. I want to thank everybody for your subscriptions and all of your views and people who like this channel. We try and bring you only the best in product reviews and various survival tactics and techniques.
Although it's still early in the investigation, we know enough to say that this was an act of terror. And as Americans, we are united to defend our people.
At first, I thought it was just a normal outage. I thought it was just a normal power outage. I wasn't really that worried. I went outside, looked around a little bit, fired the generators up, got some of the electronics in here going. But that's when I started noticing that most of the electronics was fried at that point. I dug this camera and an older GoPro that I got out of my lock box that I keep out in my building. It's a little box that's supposed to be guard against electromagnetic pulse. I bought it on eBay, as a matter of fact. And I guess it works because these devices that were in it work. I mean, why would I have a box like that? Well, I am a prepper. But the situation is much more serious than I expected. On my ham radio, I started getting in touch, trying to get in touch with people, and at first I wasn't getting any response. But the longer I tried, the more people I was able to speak to. And this is bad. This is really bad. So I guess if you're seeing this, maybe I didn't make it. But I'm going to document everything from here on out, just so we have a general idea of how things went down. Well, it's been 6 hours now since the grid went down. I was able to wire up an analog antenna, just an old rabbit ears I had, to this old Zenith TV that I had out in the shed. And it's a pretty old TV, but apparently it still uses old enough electronics that they didn't get fried, or maybe I just got lucky on it. Caught a few signals coming across the waves, and this is a global event. This is worldwide. Apparently it started with an EMP attack on the US, and obviously we retaliated. And from what I understand now, what little bit I've been able to get from the news and from radio broadcast, a little bit of radio going on out here, and also the ham radio, what I've been able to talk to people is that about 98 to 99% of the world is without power. And not just without power, but with the devastation of an EMP attack, the devices that we use to create, generate, distribute power and the devices that we use that consumed power, these devices are now burnt up, to put it bluntly. We don't have a means to distribute power the way we did. This event has knocked us back 100 years, maybe 200. It's going to be a tough going from here. I'm not really sure how to proceed, but I know this, according to what little broadcast I have been able to pick up, total anarchy and chaos has already set in. The cities are already becoming war zones. Crime everywhere, murder, stealing, breaking in places, total destruction. Saw some little footage from some of the events going on in the larger cities. It seems like the criminals put two and two together. As soon as the grid went down, they realized that communications went down with it. And who's to stop a bad guy if you can't call 911? Because 911 is not active right now. I've tried it. Right now, the only thing that's active is what you have in your hands, your minds, and your hearts. So right now, as a people, as individuals, you got to dig deep, and we've got to find a way to work. All right, it's 6 o'clock here. It's 6 o'clock now. The power's been out for 6 hours. That means the power went out at noon. My boys got out of school. Today was a half a day, so they got out about 11:30, which means they were on their way home from school when this hit. The fact that it's 6 hours later and I haven't seen them tells me that the car was affected by the attack. So that means they are without transportation. In that car, I had 2 bug-out bags in the trunk that could keep them boys alive for a good week to 2 weeks. There was also a weapon in the trunk they didn't know about, but as they pulled the bug-out bags out, I'm sure they'll see it because in there it's a pistol. But the only problem is I didn't leave any ammunition in there. I'd taken it out. So my best plan is, I know where their school is. I know where I am. I know they're on their way here from their school. We had an alternate route planned out. I told them I am a prepper, so I had warned them about the dangers of an EMP attack or something similar to where they couldn't go into town because of the dangers associated with being around people. And there's a route that they're supposed to take. There are 2 routes. The first and the second route, as we called it. The first route was a direct route which led them straight to here. It definitely goes through the woods and bypasses all of the town. The second or secondary route was much further around the county. Knowing my boys, they took the first route. I'm assuming they took the first route, and that's the way I'm going to head out from here. I've got my map together, I've got my compass, I've got all my gear, fixing to gear up, suit up, and I'm going to head down the road and I'm going to find my boys. Going to get my boys. Yeah, I've got to find the kids. I have 4 boys. They range in age from 12 to 18. My oldest one, number 1, he's in boot camp right now. So I'm not really sure how that's going to turn out. He's in boot camp, so I'm pretty sure he's been activated at this point. But there's no way I'm going to find out. My other three, they're in school today. It's a half day, so I know they're already out of school. My oldest, number 2, he's driving the car. He's picking up the 2 younger ones. He was doing me a favor today by picking them up from school. If only I had driven today. But so I have a 12-year-old, a 13-year-old, and a 16-year-old. And they're lost in a society where the grid is down. The reports are already coming in. There's already chaos. There's already riots. There are already murders. And these are just a few reports I've been able to gather across some analog airwaves. And there's not much of that. The ham radio says the world is in chaos. What reports they do have. The EMP strike originally started on the U.S., Canada, and Mexico, and also some parts of South America. But as soon as the EMPs were detected that they were on their way here, instead of shooting them all down, for some reason we just fired EMPs back. And apparently, it isn't just North America and parts of South America, or probably the majority of South America, that's in the dark now. It's the whole world. We went back to the dark ages with a population of 7.5 billion people. This is going to be total chaos. There's not enough food to feed these people. There's not enough supplies to keep these people safe. We already see that it's turning into chaos, and it's only going to get worse. All of this talk, all of the prepper shows, all of the supposition, the guessing, the hypotheses about when the grid goes down, you've got 72 hours. No, you don't. From what I've seen, when the grid went down, you had about 72 minutes. Because the bad guys, they're not stupid. They know that loss of power equals loss of communications. And with loss of communications, when they try to rob you, you can't call 911. When they set your house on fire, you don't call the fire department. When you're injured, you can't call an ambulance. We all better hope we can take care of ourselves, because there's going to be no one there to do it. So the crime started immediately. And I seriously doubt it's going to let up anytime soon. It's probably going to continue through the duration of this. With the grid down, from what I've seen with the EMP strike, it didn't just knock the power out and we have a reset button that we push somewhere to turn it back on. It fried all of the sensitive electronics and all of the devices that create, generate, and deliver this power to us. With those devices fried, you can't supply power to those who need it. And those who need it now, the devices we use to consume that power, to provide an easier way of living, are not functioning. So even if the power is established, no one has anything that'll work. So this is going to be a tough situation. It already is. I'm going to do whatever it takes to get across the county. I have about 22 miles to go to my children's school, or the one that I suppose they were leaving from. And I'm going to have to travel through the woods, so it's not going to be an easy journey. There will be other people along the way. I'm not the only one with this idea. And it will come a time to where I have to make a choice to defend myself, to turn my back, whatever. And the choice I will make is to protect my children, to protect myself. We're going to try and meet up. We're going to try and get together. I'm going to find them. We're going to get out of here. We're going to get up into the mountains. We're going to lay low for a little while. I do have the satellite radio. I do have some solar panels, some very small portable solar panels that fit in my backpack, that I can charge this camera and the satellite phone and the ham radio that I do have, that I had in my EMP box. So hopefully we'll be able to establish, or at least monitor communications and have a pretty good idea of what's going on. But as for now, we have no choice but to assume this is permanent, or at least semi-permanent. It's not going to go away in 2 or 3 days when they clear a tree off the power lines. This isn't going away anytime soon. The world just changed, and we saw it firsthand.